Alright, so, I'm going to be doing another comic that is a little late, but hey, better late than never, and that is Swamp Thing, Poison Ivy, Feral Trees. This was a comic I had heard of last minute, and I was essentially like, oh man, this looks really cool. Like, I really like, because Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy have been tied together for a long time. The two characters have been essentially intertwined for what seems like ever. So to have the two of them in a one-shot team-up book is really cool. Now, I will say that it doesn't really fit the season. It's more of a Halloween book, and it definitely feels like it. The comic is, yeah, it definitely, from artwork alone, artwork by, trying to see who did the artwork for the book. Mike Perkins and Mike Spicer. The two have done a lot of, Perkins and Spicer have done a lot of horror books. In fact, they have drawn a lot of Swamp Thing. And G. Willow Wilson is the writer. Now, G. Willow Wilson obviously has a lot of, credentials behind. She's obviously the creator of Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. She also wrote Wonder for a good time. And now she's currently writing Poison Ivy. So, I was really curious to see how she would write Swamp Thing. Because I haven't read the G. Willow Wilson Poison Ivy comics, so I couldn't tell you if she has written the character or not, or have them encounter one another. So for all intents and purposes, this basically is their first encounter for G. Willow Wilson to write. This may be the first time Wilson has written the character of Al Holland, but they don't really say if I remember right. It could be the new... it could be the completely new Swamp Thing that Ram V did from his run. So the story of this comic is essentially what has happened is that in Gotham, like the northwest area of Gotham, which, funny enough, this comic takes place in January, so hey, maybe it's not meant to be a Halloween book to begin with. Something is wrong with the trees. Something has gone terribly wrong with the trees, and it's drawn Swamp Thing to Gotham, and it's also pulled in Pamela. So Swamp Thing and Ivy and Swamp Thing have never really seen eye to eye. I mean, yeah, we've seen them team up a few times, but they don't really like each other, because there has been a few times where the two have essentially been at odds over, ideology, and also the Green has kind of pit them together a few times, because the Green has been like, hey, Swamp Thing, you're a bitch, she's in charge now. So it's kind of like that. The story itself, like I said, is more like a horror book. I also, side note, really love the, I also waited and got the cover by Clayton Kane. Clayton Kane is an artist that I like. I think he does a lot of good work. He's really good at doing, horror characters. Normal human characters he's kind of on, but I love how he writes, monster characters. I especially loved how he drew, Ghost Rider and Carnage and Venom, the symbiotes. So he's like one of those artists, if you give him a monster, he's gonna nail it. If you give him, a normal human character, it's gonna look weird, unless it's like a Spider-Man character who's just kind of, in the whole thing of, oh shit, I dropped the book. I'm so fucking professional. Aren't I great? Yeah, I'm so fucking cool. I am so great. I am just a giant fucking mess of a human fucking being. Anyway, so yeah. Also, if you're wondering if this is a miniseries, it's not. It's a one-shot, which I appreciate, seeing a one-shot comic now and again. I really do appreciate having a one-and-done story. And it really harkens back to, another reason why I wanted to get it, because it really harkens back to the days of Brave and the Bold, to see these characters team up. I also really like, again, just the horror feel of the story. It feels like there's a lot of body horror. Pamela herself discovers what's going on, and it does put her at odds with Swamp Thing. I don't want to spoil what it is, but when they find out what's causing the trees to essentially go feral, it really is a very heartbreaking moment when it gets down to it. It's a moment of, oh shit. Like and when you find out more about the story and what's causing the trees to be feral, it's a very heartbreaking story in and of itself. So I really gotta hand it to G. Willow Wilson for doing a great human story with essentially inhuman characters. It actually, again, I haven't read her Poison Ivy run. From what I understand, it was meant to be a miniseries, but it was so damn good, they made it an ongoing. So I would really love to read the G. Willow Wilson Poison Ivy series. I've been really curious about it. If anyone has read that series, let me know in the comments below if that's worth it. But do I think Swamp Thing Poison Ivy is worth it? Abso-fucking-lutely. I really do think this is definitely worth your time. A nice horror story. If you enjoy either character and seeing them team up, it's a good one. And it ends on such a somber note, too. So yeah, I highly recommend this comic. But yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below if you guys have read Swamp Thing, Poison Ivy, Feral Trees. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.